Tá ceannacht le dhí ar na páirtí a lig agus an Burge Rialtas. Tá ceann na páirtí eile ag úsáid na maratha a Belfast le Sinn Féin a ceann amach. Agus tá muid fíor cinse go bhfuil sin go háan mí ceart agus níl sé an neacha agin. Tá an más céanna tilse ag vótarí Sinn Féin le vótarí páirtí eile agus vótarí eile agus béimiid ag seasamh ar an fud seo agus béimiid ag leach páirt na canseanna seo ceann déaláil leis na rudaí tábhachtach ó comhainteachú eile agus chun rudaí a chur I gceart más féidir linn é a dhéanamh. What I just said there in Irish is that the two recent murders in Belfast have been used as a pretext by some other parties to create a political crisis. And part of an effort to exclude Sinn Féin, to undermine previous agreements and to undermine the institutions. Now let me be very, very clear about this. Sinn Féin voters deserve the same respect, the same democratic entitlements as any other party or any other voter. Our voters, our electorate throughout the island of Ireland, and we are not responsible for criminal elements who went out and killed these two men in Belfast recently. We're here to deal with all of the issues, and particularly we want to see working institutions, that's what citizens deserve, with a workable budget. We want to see the Stormont House Agreement implemented. We've been waiting since it was agreed. We've been anxious. Martin McGuinness has been very leaderly and positive and assertive in expressing our desire to implement all of the measures which were agreed for dealing with the past, for dealing with parades, and also those issues for dealing with budgetary matters, and particularly the rights of citizens who are underprivileged, deprived, ill or disadvantaged. So, what is needed is for all of the parties to show leadership, and I include in that the two governments. And if we get that, then of course we will see collectively all of these matters resolved. That certainly will be the Sinn Féin focus. When you look at what's happening in other parts of the world, when you look at the plight of people in the Middle East and people who are struggling to leave Syria, and what's happening in the Mediterranean, and then you compare it to what's happening here, you know, it just puts everything in a totally different context. So rather than threatening to undermine or to throw out the Good Friday Agreement, the British Secretary of State needs to fulfil her obligations under the terms of the Good Friday Agreement, just like the rest of us.
I spoke to her boss just a few days ago, and I made it clear that it would be totally unacceptable to Sinn Féin for the institutions to be suspended on foot of a unionist demand. He told me that he was not going to suspend the institutions. So we're working on the basis that we're going into these talks with the view to get a resolution to all of the difficulties that exist for everybody. We obviously want to see the Stormont House Agreement implemented. We want to see a workable budget for workable institutions. And we want to see the British government in particular recognise their responsibilities by being creative and imaginative in terms of assisting the executive to move the process forward. So it's a job of work. Is it doable? I think if there's a will, it's doable. I think also given the terrible events in Belfast over the course of the last couple of months, with the murders of two people, and our thoughts go out to the family of Jock Davison and the family of Kevin McGuigan, who suffered grievously as a result of these murders, which in my opinion were carried out by criminals, by people who, when they lift a gun, immediately become violent dissidents because they're not prepared to accept the policing dispensation that Sinn Féin signed up for. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous that people like myself and Carol and Jennifer and John O'Dowd and Michelle O'Neill, that our credentials in regard to our opposition to violence has been called into question in a very cynical attempt to try to portray Sinn Féin as in some way associated with violence on the streets. I do take umbrage at those who would attempt to call into question my commitment to peace and democracy during my period as Deputy First Minister. We have been at the heart of this peace process for over 20 years. We've taken many very difficult decisions, including the decision to sign up for the new policing dispensation. And we've remained true and loyal to all of the commitments that we have made. And I think that the unionist parties in particular and the British government should be much more forthright. Indeed, they should be much more honest, and they should tell the public, their public within unionism and within loyalism, that they absolutely do trust the Sinn Féin leadership in terms of our opposition to violence and our commitment to peace and democracy. So what we need to do is find a way forward that ensures the workable budget for the executive, the implementation of the Stormont House Agreement, the British government living up to its responsibilities, and also to find a way forward which allows everybody to be involved in earnest endeavour to ensure that there are no armed groups whatsoever within our society. And that is our total and absolute commitment. And I think that my track record and the track record of my ministerial colleagues in the executive over the course of the last 8 years is absolutely second to none.